BWN TV show. Hello and welcome to another episode of BWN TV show. As you can see, it's mega serious and we just talk about business. No, we don't. We have quite a laugh. We can talk about really serious subjects, how we feel about things in life and business that are quite challenging, and we'll still have a laugh about it. We've had some amazing shows so far. It's fantastic that we've had over 297 minutes of people watching these shows already, and there's only 4, so that's pretty amazing. That is pretty amazing. No pressure there, Sarah. No pressure at all. And my guest today is Sarah Travers from Ajax Wealth. Don't turn off because we're talking about money. All right, I know what you like. Lots of us hate talking about money, but more than ever, we need to look after the money we make. So we're going to look at, we're going to just have a chat really and call it work, which is how I basically feel about business full stop, because I love it. How's business for you, Sarah?
Yeah, it's good. It's actually quite busy, so which is always good. Obviously, everyone's had their challenges. Moving on to working remotely, which for some clients is easier than others. So, but yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah.
It's all good. So we have had a couple of questions coming via the insiders. Paul Borman, the focus chef, amazing talented chef, but he also happens to be someone that can come into your business and make it great because he uses the skills that a chef has. It's really cool business. Check it out. And Paul has asked about future life planning. You know, what happens if you know, you're perfectly well and healthy now, but what are you going to do in the future? What can we do now when we're active in our business that will protect our future when maybe we might need care or we might need lots of extra support? And I know that sounds really boring, but you know, it's boring having insurance, but not so boring when your house burns down and someone just comes in and fixes it all. It's boring having car insurance, but it's not boring when you just say, right, take that car away and bring it back when it's less broken. So Sarah, what advice have you got for Paul?
I think it's really, really important to look ahead. The earlier people start to plan for the future, the better. You know, if you start in your 20s, you don't have to tuck away loads for it to make a massive difference, all the compound effect over years. Looking at care, we are obviously an ageing population. There are more and more people needing care. That is going to increase. We're not necessarily living longer. The sort of that's starting to plateau as to how long.
Oh, that's bad news.
We're still creeping up a little bit, but not so much. But it's also looking at, yeah, no, we're going to live forever, so it's fine. But it's also looking at how long we live a healthy life. So a lot of people do, as Paul has raised the question, you know, a lot of people do need some form of care in later life, whether that's just a little bit of help around the home, Meals on Wheels, or whether it's actually needing full-on nursing care in a residential setting. So planning ahead, really it's trying to think about what options you want to have. So the more that you can set aside and the more you can save and the earlier you can start saving, the more choice you have. So I get people coming to me saying, right, I don't want to pay care fees, I want to give it all away. I say, right, that's fine. You know, there's potentially issues with that, but that's a whole nother book. But it's also looking at, you know, do you want that choice? If you know, some people say, well, I want to give my house away, I want to give that to the kids, and I haven't got much savings, so then the you know, the state will pay. And I would just like to say, okay, do you really want the state making that decision for you, or do you want to be able to say, do you know what? I'm dealing with a client at the moment, and she's saying, right, I want mum to have 24-hour living care. I want to be able to choose the carers. I don't want her to have to go into some state-funded setting or to have state-funded care at home, which is going to be maybe 4 visits a day, and the rest of the time she's on her own.
Yeah.
So it's thinking ahead, which is really, really important. I mean, at the moment, we're really looking at things like using your ISA allowances, using your pension. Obviously, you get tax relief on your pension contributions. So just tucking some money aside every month if you can. I mean, if you can afford it, if you've got a regular income, set up a direct debit that goes out as soon as you get paid. And then you don't notice it. Then you're not sitting there thinking, oh, well, I could, you know, buy another pair of shoes, or I could, you know, I think I go out for a meal, which obviously we can't at the moment, but, you know.
No, the thing is that actually, to be fair, that for a lot of people who have been either furloughed or businesses moved completely online, they're probably spending a lot less. For myself, this might sound crazy, but because I do a heck of a lot of coaching and I host a lot of events, and I do like the big corporate events, coaching teams, my coffee bill a month is usually £300.
That's outrageous.
I've saved nearly £1,000 on coffee through lockdown already.
You need to stay in lockdown. Put that in your pension.
Well, funny enough, I mean, the thing is, unfortunately, we've not had it great in our house. My husband he travels the world for his work, and so I have had to jump in and make up that massive deficit, which I'm very lucky to be in the position to, find some clients, get them on board, let's work together straight away, which is fantastic, and some amazing opportunities seem to have turned up already. But I think that's the problem for a lot of people, is those people who have been working as normal but can't go out and spend it. They have got pots of money that they really should be investing right now, shouldn't they? But then there's us lot who are kind of like, no, we just need to get through this. I found that I've been still saving, but what I do is I use a little app on my phone, and just a little bit sneaks out once a week. And so it's really nice because, like you say, you don't really notice it going because it's such a small amount, but you're putting away for your future. Is there any apps that you recommend?
I don't really use any apps for that. I mean, I'm a big direct debit person, but yeah, I'm sure there's loads out there. Someone was telling me about one, but I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, literally at the end of either every week or every month, anything that's left in their bank account, they just sort of sidle off into a separate account, and it sits there, and you know, it's there for the future.
Yeah.
It's also about discipline as well. I mean, some people are disciplined and will do that. Other people kind of need to have it a bit more regimented, I suppose, almost in a way, so not having to do it physically themselves.
Oh, with the app I use one called Chip, and I don't actually do anything. It just looks at my expenditure for that month and says, going on how much you spent this month, we're going to nick this much. It's fantastic, and at any time you can choose to up it or reduce it. So I like that because I don't have to think about it. I'm putting money away. I tell you who we need to get on here. We need to get on here Jenny from PA Angels, now Pangles, because she's a VA specialist, and if there's an app in the planet for something, she knows about it because she's used it with clients. We'll get Jenny on the show and we'll find out what she thinks.
Get all those apps down. Perfect. So
I want to talk about money in a slightly different way, because I will often have coaching clients say in their first session, Mandie, I'm coming to you because I want to make more money. And obviously the first question I want to know is how much. You need to be specific to get to places. And people don't like talking about money. In fact, I really like that on the Insiders. That's our confidential mastermind group. So if you've not joined us yet, it's only £5 a month. And they're an amazing group of business owners, from small businesses, startups, millionaires, everything in between. They're absolutely amazing. We don't really tell people about it a great deal because it's that amazing. We want to keep it that way. But that's something I really love about the Insiders, is they will actually say, oh my God, I've just got a dream contract. And they'll tell you how much money it's worth. But as a population, as maybe it's a woman thing, that we just don't really talk about money. Do you see that in your work?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very private thing to talk about money, and I don't know whether it's just a national thing or whether it's sort of a global. But I know the British are very sort of reticent about discussing really anything personal. So asking someone, how much do you earn? It's like, it's just no, So it's sort of, and I think we need to just sort of almost get over that and just think, actually, we do need to be thinking and discussing money, and discussing it, with our parents or our siblings, or and just opening up about it. You know, I try and talk to my children about it and saying, right, okay, you know, how much pocket money, how much have you got in your piggy bank? Okay, what's that actually worth in real terms? What are you going to do with that? You know, I've got a spender and I've got a saver. It really is fascinating that even, you know, they've been brought up the same, their attitudes. So that the spender, I have to say, right, okay, just spend half. You don't have to spend all of what you've got come in straight away. So it's just trying to build that mentality. But yeah, I think just trying to encourage people just to open up, and just, even if it's just between, I don't know, between partners, you know, between husband and wife or whatever, you know, just because a lot of people don't even speak to their partner about what their income is, what their outgoing, you know. I find sometimes that people say, oh, well, you know, well, yeah, I've got a bit on credit card, but I haven't told my husband. And it's like,
Yes, I've seen that. I actually worked with someone 2 years ago, and that was their goal. They'd got themselves into quite a lot of debt. Well, for me, it was horrendous level of debt, because I don't like debt. I like savings and holidays. And they'd got themselves into £22,000 worth of debt. I wouldn't be able to sleep with that amount of money. And they basically said, I can't let my husband find out. Can you help me make the money so that I don't have to ever admit to it? And thankfully, we were able to get it cleared in about 6 months. But I did not convince them, I did coach them on, what does that say about your relationship with money, that you can't even talk to the person that you share every aspect of your life with. And in actual fact, it was in coaching them to be honest with their partner, it really changed their attitude to money. I find that a lot of people kind of have quite a scarcity attitude to money, and they kind of try and hang on to it. Whereas if you can have a flowing attitude to money, that doesn't matter how much I make, there'll always be more coming in, your mindset shifts, and then it even has an impact on the contracts you pick up in business. Interesting you say about children, actually, because I remember taking my children to the bank account, to the bank on Mersey Island where I live. And I said to the bank manager, I've got a meeting booked. And they said, oh, is your name Sophie? And I said, no, that's my daughter. The meeting's for her. And she said, well, she can't have a meeting. She's 8. And I said, no, she can have a meeting with her brother. And I'm in the meeting, but it's for them. This has nothing to do with me. I'm going to help them set it up. But they need to learn how to communicate with the bank manager. And she was blown away. She said, I don't think I've ever seen 2 children brought in here. So then we set these accounts up, and she said, well, they're very young, that you don't want them to have debit cards. I said, oh, yes, I do. She said, really? I said, yeah, how exactly are they going to learn about money if they don't put a card in a machine or go to pay for something at a checkout and it goes, I'm really sorry, you can't have this? And she said, wow, actually, this makes perfect sense. And it wasn't long after that, they actually introduced accounts with cards for children. So it's interesting. I remember telling my friends what I'd done, and they said, aren't you worried that they're going to rack up huge debts? And I said, well, no, because they've been taught about what an overdraft is and how they haven't got one on this account. And that if they want to buy things, they're going to need to save up. And I used to have one of each, but funnily enough, their pocket money has always been directly in partnership to how much work they do. Because let's be honest, the more work you do, the more money you earn.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, my daughter loves K-pop, and she saves up religiously. My son has saved up for, he's a massive computer fan, massive gamer. So they save up for what they want. I wonder what happens for us where we kind of change our attitude to money. Because as kids, we saved up, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't know whether it was, I mean, I think at the moment in society, it's very easy to spend. You know, you tap here, you tap there, you tap somewhere else, and it's not the physical, you know, like my gran, she would get the cash out of the bank and she would have a certain amount in her purse, and she always had a bit upstairs tucked away in case of something. I have no idea what. So you would need 200 quid in your purse for. But anyway, it was a very much cash base. So handing over, you know, your £20 note and you get your change, and it's a very physical thing. Whereas now, because card, I mean, youngsters, they don't even have cards, do they? It's all on the phone. It sort of desensitizes, I think. It's a one-step removed process, you know, shopping online, click on, you know.
Yeah.
it's sort of reconnecting and having that thought process and thinking, actually, you know, I'm a big person, sort of fan of making a budget and just sitting down at the end of the month and saying, you know, what have you spent? Where's it gone? You know, what tweaks can you make? You know, do you need to keep spending on X, Y, Z, whatever it is? Because it is so easy to spend.
It is, yeah.
And a lot of people, you know, they do build up credit card debt because it's quite easy just to say, oh, well, I'll spend that, I'll pay it off, you know, I'll do that next month. And some people are very disciplined, and yes, they will pay off religiously every month, which is great. But if you don't, it's quite easy to build up that debt. And so I don't know. I think it's trying to get people to sort of think longer term as well, because we're very much an instant society.
Yeah,
we want things now. You know?
We want gratitude, don't we? We want to feel good. I think that's the thing. I think as business owners, if you want to sell more, make sure your marketing talks about how good this is going to make you feel when you buy this product. In fact, for the very reason about the way something makes me feel, is one of the reasons I don't spend all my money, because I obviously, as a coach, I do set myself goals, and one of my goals is when my husband can go part-time or contractor, I just want to doss around Europe in my caravan with my husband and my dog. I may come home, I may not, but that's why I'm quite good at money, because it's holiday based, basically. I like holidays. I like 4 or 5 holidays every year, and that takes quite a lot of money. So you put it away because you want to have that fun, don't you?
Yeah.
Should I tell you? Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, it's just having those motivators. So, you know, people come home and working with, like, you know, you're a coach, so you understand what motivates you, and I'm sure you help clients to understand what motivates them. And part of what I do, you know, it is understanding what motivates. So is it a fear thing? Is it a benefit? And I think a lot of people think retirement is such a long way away.
Yeah.
I'll do that next year. I'll start saving my pension next year, because right now, this year, I need a holiday. But it's in that balance and say, okay, yeah, have a holiday, but don't spend all your money on a holiday. Spend half your money on a holiday and put half of it away for your retirement. Because I can say those clients that I work with that get to retirement and they're comfortable in retirement, they're going on those lovely holidays. They've worked, they've saved, and they're comfortable. They're not stressing. You know, they don't want to get to retirement and think, oh, actually, I've got to stop work, or I haven't got enough and I'm going to worry about putting the heating on.
Yeah.
So it's all about choice and understanding that actually you can have that choice, but, you know, it's just finding the balance as well.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good point you make, because my grandparents were good savers. My parents were good savers. So I think we kind of we're generation after generation that appreciates it and have lots of nice things. I've got to tell you a story. It's not like breaching insurance or anything, because they're not alive, unfortunately, anymore. In fact, that's my granddad back there. I can't show you my granddad. He looks like Father Christmas. There you go.
Oh, your screen's frozen on mine at the moment, so.
Oh, there you go. There's my granddad. So
I can't see it, but hopefully everyone else will be able to see it.
Hopefully everyone else will. I will add a picture to the link when we share it on social media. So Granddad looks like Father Christmas, and they worked very hard in their lives, very, very hard, where they lived in the east end of London. And I can remember that my granddad and my nan, they lived in London, but they used to have a boat up on the River Cam up in Cambridgeshire. And they would go away on their boat for, you know, somewhere between 2 weeks and 4 months. They just poodle around the Cam and go through Ely and Upware and all these little places. And my granddad used to get quite frustrated with my nan, because my nan had a little cushion that she'd made, little embroidered cushion. I think Sarah probably knows where this is going. And she had this little embroidered cushion that on average had £4,000 in it. So they used to drive up from London, go out on the boat, which, you know, it was an old Broads boat, so didn't have the best of security, and just leave this cushion on the sofa with £4,000 in it. And you'd go around it on the boat, because boats are moored up traditionally in most villages, especially in Ely. Everyone's walking past right at either level into your boat, and there's my nan like getting money out for Granddad. He's 50 quid, and we're like, Nan, put it away.
Oh no.
Oh dear, so it just goes to show we don't all think about money in the right ways. If we were to leave everyone with some top tips for looking after their finances in these interesting new times that we all find ourselves facing, what would they be, Sarah?
I think you touched on it before. I think definitely, do a budget, understand where your money obviously comes in and where your money goes to, because it can be quite surprising to realise that, oh, actually, I spend quite a lot on X, Y, Z. I know an annual costs, things like Christmas presents can really rack up. So sit down and look at a budget. And set those goals, think about what motivates. Is it like, I want to have a really great holiday every year and I want to be able to do that while I'm still able. So I still want to be having great holidays when I'm in my 70s and 80s, hopefully. And prioritise, I guess, because most people can't do everything they want to do. Yeah, we'd all love to be putting, thousands of pounds a month into a pension, but we can't always do everything. So it's understanding what's most important right now. So, for example, someone might say, oh, I want to save into a pension, but actually they've got some credit card debt. So I might say, okay, focus on paying off that debt, get out of that cycle of creating debt. Give yourself a time frame, a firm time frame for doing that, and then look at your pension. So say, right, I'm going to pay that off within the next 6 months, and then I'm going to start saving into my pension. But don't put things off, because a lot of it is procrastination. So people say, I'll start my pension next year. And you know what? I don't know about you, but sometimes things come up on Facebook, for example, and I think, what was that 5 years ago? Because it just goes so quickly. So don't put it off. Get your priorities, understand what motivates you, and do it. Don't sit back and. Yes, it can be complicated. Someone might say, I want to start a pension, I don't know where to go. Okay, I would say seek financial advice, because obviously that's what I do. But even if you just do something, it's probably better than doing nothing. Be aware of scams and things like that. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So people do have to be really, really wary of that. But take action and don't put it off. I think
that's brilliant advice. So Sarah's been really useful to us in lockdown, sharing some really good advice, which has been really appreciated, Sarah. I know that anything comes out that you think is going to be relevant to business owners, it goes straight on the insiders, and obviously you talk about it at our events as well. So you're officially, in the real world, you're a member of our Colchester events. I really miss physically seeing you. We've got our next event on Friday, actually, and I really miss physically seeing everyone. I kind of get quite sad now after the amazing event we have. I'm like buzzing, and then I come off the call and I'm like, I am not going to see them again this month. How are you finding online networking? Are you enjoying it? Is it challenging? How do you feel about it?
I think it's good, because I think you can do more events. I joined Lisa and Amanda's Suffolk and Warwickshire. It was fantastic. It was really nice. So you got you can meet more people and keep in touch with people. It can be it's obviously not the same as being able to stand in a room and have a cup of tea with someone, but it's still really lovely to be able to still see those faces and think, right, we will it sounds like a song, but we will meet again. So it's just having that contact, I think, is really, really important. So, it can be a bit fatiguing when you've got lots of faces on the screen, but I on the whole, I really enjoy it. And I think, the content of, the BWN meetings is always brilliant. I find I always take stuff away that I find useful. I don't think I've ever been to one where I thought, well, that was a waste of time,
If you did, I'd want to know about it. I didn't pay to take any of that, by the way.
It's really good. So yeah.
I mean, the ethos behind the BWN is, it's as passionate about your success as you are. But I very much feel like it's an honor to take 2.5 hours of your time. So I've always said to the team, you have to give your soul to these events. Someone's giving you 2.5 hours of time, it has to be good for business. So I didn't actually pay Sarah to say any of that, because I'm too busy saving for my future and my holidays. Well, thanks Thank you so much for joining us today, Sarah. I've really enjoyed it, and talking about money wasn't as scary as everyone thinks it is. So thanks again, Sarah, and I'll see you at an event soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Right, I've stopped